If you could talk directly to Donald Trump and say
Mhm.
something right to him, what would you tell him?
I don't cut the grift, baby. It's time. You've got to give back the stablecoin business. You've got to give back your crypto coins. This business of selling access to the White House, just because you found a way that you think the Department of Justice won't come after you for, not good enough. You got to stop. You got elected to lower prices for people on day one. Make good on that promise, not on how to make Donald Trump and the Trump family even richer.
Donald Trump once called Qatar a funder of terrorism,
Yeah.
and now he's willing to accept their funding of a $400 million plane. So, is this a national security risk?
Oh, you bet it's a national security risk. He says it's free. Remember, the Trojan horse was free too, uh, until you got in there.
Right.
And, that's the deal. You realize for security reasons that the Air Force One has to be like a flying fortress, right? And it is a place where the president is. It's a place where he does business. It's a place where he communicates with people all around the world. To know that that plane is secure, you got to tear the whole thing apart. You got to take out every nut, every bolt, every screw, and make sure there's not a transmitter in one of them or 100 of them. You got to take that whole thing apart, which means it's going to cost billions of dollars to actually know that you've got an airplane that can safely carry the president and all of the president's communications and everything that gets said there. In addition to that, when he says it's free, when Donald Trump says that this plane is free, I just want to know, what do the Qataris think they're getting for this? What's the trade deal they want? What's the weapons deal they want? What's the prosecution that they want released and eased up on? There's nothing that's coming free to the President of the United States at that level that doesn't come with an expectation there's going to be something in return. The hard part is the American people may not see what it was until it's way too late.
Donald Trump is in Saudi Arabia today.
Mm-hmm.
The question is he there for the American people or is he there for his personal interests?
That is exactly the right question because nobody knows the answer to that except Donald Trump. Look, this is one reason that right now today, Donald Trump should divest himself of all of his crypto assets and his family's. This would be at least one way to shut down one of the funnels of money that goes straight into Donald Trump's pocket or that of his family, and that permits more influence peddling. That's the really awful part about this. How many deals are being done with a wink and a nod? And they are really, really good for Donald Trump and the Trump family, and really not so good for American people.
I wanted to ask you about Trump coin.
Uh-huh.
You've called it the latest grift and a
Yep.
scam. What do you mean by that?
Well, look, what Donald Trump can now do, because he has his Trump coin and his stable coin, is he does a couple of things. One is that he just goes into business with really shady operators. So the stable coin, his partner in this deal is an outfit called Binance that actually pleaded guilty to criminal money laundering. That is, helping facilitate money to drug traffickers and terrorists and fraudsters all around the world. And the CEO actually went to prison and is currently seeking rumored to be seeking a pardon from Donald Trump. So what do? They set up this stablecoin outfit and cut Donald Trump in on the deal. So he makes money on the deal. And who knows what other things happen. Maybe Binance gets its CEO gets its pardon, gets an opportunity to operate, moves forward on this stablecoin bill that may be voted on in the Senate this very week, all helping Donald Trump family, and trading away favors to folks who are convicted criminals. Now, that would be enough all by itself to say, we got to stop this. The Trump family needs to shut this down, divest. But in addition to that, they've gone further. And that is now we've got the UAE involved buying $2 billion worth of this coin. And the consequence is that Donald Trump makes even more money. He's making money off literally every transaction in this $2 billion. Plus, he gets a share of the interest-free loan that's made when the $2 billion gets put in. So all that means is we've now seen two outfits, a foreign country and a foreign convicted criminal that can directly enrich Donald Trump right out in public, and who knows what they get from it. That's why the Senate needs to vote no on this stablecoin bill unless we shut that down. And Trump and the Trump family should divest right now and shut it down.
So a question we get all the time, what can Congress do about it? What can you do about it?
Okay, well, this is one where we got something going on right this minute, literally. So right now, the Senate is about to vote on a stablecoin bill. And think of it this way. Stablecoins are being traded out there, but it's kind of like a dirt road. It's bumpy. It's a little hard to do. There are some restrictions. That's how one of these companies ended up having to plead guilty to crimes on money laundering. But it doesn't work great. We need to put some curbs in place. The bill that the Republicans have written goes in exactly the opposite direction. It says what we're going to do is we're going to pave this road. We're going to make it 7 lanes wide. It's going to be slick. You're going to be able to move money and transactions. And boy, it is going to work. And it's not going to have the curbs needed so that we shut down the money launderers, the drug traffickers, and most importantly, so that we shut down the Trump family grift.
So people are actually buying this coin. I'm curious if you're more surprised by the corruption of it or the fact that people still trust someone who bankrupted a casino.
You know, it's hard to say. Donald Trump is trying to make money off tricking people. And look, maybe it shouldn't be a surprise. After all, Donald Trump said for more than a year when he was running for re-election, what was he going to do on day one? Do you remember? On day one,
Yep.
on day one, he was going to lower prices for American families. He said, on day one. And he said after he got elected, that was the main reason that he got elected. And then he's, a month into his presidency, and somebody says, hey, this tariff business you're doing, that's not going to lower costs for families. It's going to raise costs for families. You know what he said? He couldn't care less. So Donald Trump has been in the let's trick people, let's cheat people, let's tell them one thing, and then reality is something else, while he makes money for himself. That's the real grift here for Donald Trump. Elect him president, put him in the White House. And what does he do with all that power? He doesn't help the American people. He helps Donald Trump and the Trump family and pretty much nobody else.
Senator, I know that you are co-sponsoring the Save Our Schools initiative, and you've very graciously invited the head of the Department of Education to a forum that you're having tomorrow.
Yes.
And she responded this morning on X, and she said that while she does not have faith that your forum would elicit a productive dialogue, she'd still meet with you. So what would you discuss with her if you had the chance?
I just want to be clear here. She has said online that she wants to end the Department of Education. And what's that going to mean? It's going to mean bigger classrooms for all of our kids in public school. It's going to mean kids with special needs are going to lose their opportunity to be able to be in those classrooms. And it's going to mean that we're going to end a lot of the after-school programs that are so important to give kids a safe place to be in the afternoons. So my view is, what are you afraid of, Linda McMahon? You want to do this stuff. Why don't you get out there and say so in public, where there'll be some people who'll ask you some questions? Why not sit there with a public school teacher and have to explain to a public school teacher why you want to end the Department of Education? Why not sit there with the parent of a kid with special needs who gets that aid that's paid for by the federal government right now and explain why ending the Department of Education is just exactly what that family needs? You know, if she really has the courage of her convictions, then she should be willing to sit there with parents, with teachers, with members of Congress, and just answer a few questions about it, explain her position. Look, I'm glad to meet with Linda McMahon. Oh, I will do that. But understand this, she needs to meet with the public. She needs to meet with those parents and teachers whose lives she's trying to destroy.
Just a quick follow-up. Do you think we should be recruiting the head of education from the WWE?
You know, it was not the first place I was thinking of where you get a good Secretary of Education. But actually, it's a fair question you asked, Joe. How insulting is it to every public school teacher? How insulting is it to every parent who has worked through the public school, to every volunteer, to every librarian, to everybody who helps make that system work and has devoted their lives to it, to say, no, we're going to bring in someone who's all about showmanship, but not about substance. Our kids need someone who believes in public education. No nation builds a strong future by shortchanging public education.
Senator, if you could talk to a little girl who grew up in Oklahoma
Yeah.
as a senator, what would you tell her?
I would say stay in the fight, kiddo. You know, this is a righteous fight. And everyone talks in extreme terms because this is an extreme moment. But we all have to decide when it really gets hard, when it's really tough, when it's really on the line. How much are you willing to do? I never thought I'd be in politics, but I'm here because I'm willing to give it everything I've got. I'm willing to do that for all the little girls in Oklahoma and everywhere else who just want a chance to build their lives going forward.
Senator, thank you so much. I
So good
appreciate
to
it so
see you,
much
Joe.
today. Thank
You
you.
bet.